안녕하십니까. 처음 인사드리겠습니다. 저는 한국핀테크지원센터 손성규 부장입니다. 오늘 코리아 핀테크 위크 마지막 날 아시아 지역의 주요 핀테크 협회 관계자분들을 모시고 아시아 지역의 핀테크 현황을 공유하고 논의할 수 있는 주요 내용으로 준비를 하였습니다. 세미나 시작에 앞서 오늘 세미나가 개최될 수 있도록 아낌없는 지원을 하여주신 한국핀테크지원센터 변영한 이사장님께 감사의 말씀을 올립니다. 그리고 센터 관계자 및 운영사무국 관계자분들께도 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 국제 세미나의 원활한 진행을 위해서 영어로 시작하도록 하겠습니다. Korea Fintech Week 2023 exemplary fintech event that we are gathered together to share our regional fintech trends, ideas, and insights from our fintech industry experts, leaders, and participants from home and abroad. Thus, it is my great pleasure for me to moderate this session with the fintech industry experts in Asia Pacific region. Speaking of our session, we planned this seminar months ago with each fintech association's hard work to share the common vision and ideas, insights for close cooperation and possible business opportunities. So, I would like to warmly welcome my close friends and partners from Japan, Philippines, Singapore, Taiwan, and Uzbekistan. Please welcome Mr. Takeshi Kitaro, Vice Chair of Fintech Association Japan, for sharing his key fintech trends and his industry experts on Japanese fintech ecosystem.
Roughly 3.7 trillion GDP, so it's the third largest country in the world in terms of economy. And in terms of financial industry, our financial market is almost matured. So let me introduce the history of Japanese regulatory changes and its developments. So earlier, Japanese regulator implemented the equity crowdfunding and cryptocurrency regulations. It was before 2017, and in 2018 they enforced open banking and open API regulation, and also regulatory sandbox and eKYC. And then in 2020, security token was introduced. And after COVID-19, the immediate finance and payment service act amendment, and recently we had a stable coin and digital salary payments regulation coming up.
Next, I would like to welcome Mr. Ruben Lim, CFO from Singapore Fintech Association, for his expert views on Singapore fintech trends and insights.
Using Singapore, it's a very good access point. So Singapore houses more than half of the Fortune 500 companies in Singapore, and a lot of them use it as a regional hub, regional HQ for their APAC market, which sometimes includes Australia, New Zealand, includes Japan, Korea as well, depending on where you are from. And we are also seeing more Korean companies coming to Singapore to set up a hub there for their Southeast Asia expansion. And then the next thing I probably want to draw you to is also why we want to come to Singapore. Singapore is a global fintech hub, and we are a global fintech hub not because of just only fintech alone, but there's a lot of things that put together. We are a maritime hub, we are an aviation hub, we are also a legal hub. So, and then of course we're also a finance hub, and because of all these things that put together, it makes us a fintech hub as well. Importantly, more than half of the funding in fintech that goes into Southeast Asia lands in Singapore. So in Singapore, we only have one regulator called Monetary Authority Singapore, MAS. We only have one, so they perform all the functions, including your central bank, interest rates, liquidity, policies, enforcement, supervisory. It all sits within that. It covers insurance, it covers fintech, it covers banking, capital markets, and all sits within that together. All of us have a cell phone, so that makes embedded finance become a very important trend as well. The important part that fintech is doing right now is that fintech is able to perform a lot of functions that the banks can without even you knowing that you are interacting, without even you knowing that you are actually being provided a service. And that's how seamless embedded finance will get as we go along.
Next, please welcome Ms. Wu Ting, International Partnership Manager from Fintech Space in Taiwan. We'd like to hear from your story in fintech's mission and partnership in Korea and abroad.
First trend in Taiwan is the regulatory sandbox and the open data. Taiwan is shared the same vision as Korea and Singapore, that the Taiwan's fintech policies is around the responsible innovation. So that is why our regulators set up the sandbox and the new business trials for create an environment for everyone to get the test. However, there's a difference between the sandbox and the new business trial. So the sandbox is actually for the everyone can apply. However, only your services is challenging this current law, then you need to apply for the sandbox. So that is why Taiwan sandbox actually currently is 9 cases. But under fintech space mentoring, we have 3 fintech companies actually graduated from the sandbox. For the new business trial, it is more about financial institutions to apply. And the solutions is less challenge than the sandbox application. So that would be a little bit different. We are looking for like technology like AIs to be implemented into the financial services, and maybe we can defend or detect the fraud before it happens. Taiwan has developed the fintech since 2016, and from then to here, we observe that a lot of companies are growing enough and they would like to expand broad.
Next, please welcome Ms. Amol McLean from Digital Filipinas. She's a chairwoman and convener of Digital Filipinas. She's a CEO and entrepreneur.
Thank you so much to both the chairman and also to our friend Sung. I'm here to share our story in Digital ASEAN. Why does ASEAN matter? Let me share with you why Korea, ASEAN, and the Philippines make for a great storyline together. Do you know that we have 178 million active mobile phone users, over 115 million population? So there are actually more active mobile phones over a population of 115. Basically, whenever we're born with a mobile phone. Literally, we are a physical aberration in that regard. Mobile first. It wasn't fintech that came first. It was e-commerce that came first. The fastest growing region for e-commerce in the whole world is actually in ASEAN. Most of our money go into Alibaba, right? It goes into e-commerce. But that gave rise to an entire industry of fintech, BNPL, and also logistics, right? And in the Philippines and Indonesia, it eventually gave rise to things like last mile delivery. 40% of the entire ASEAN has a CBDC execution, a region that has some of the most progressive executions for CBDC. 2 of the top crypto markets in the entire world are in ASEAN. That would be the Philippines, Vietnam. If you want to see the world, you go to Singapore. If you want to see ASEAN issues and problems on things like SME digitalization, we have the same hashtag ASEAN problems as Vietnam and Indonesia. You come and see us in the Philippines.
Last but not the least, please welcome Mr. Otabek Narisovov from Fintech Association Uzbekistan for his views on Uzbekistan fintech trends and opportunities.
So briefly about the trends in our market, and one of them is some open API, cybersecurity, cloud solutions. We need to implement very fast in our markets, and we try to discuss with regulators about this and to implement all good and best international practice in Uzbekistan as well. Few words about venture capital in Uzbekistan, because the venture capital also part of the big fintech market. So, of course, we understand that we are doing the first steps, but we have 4 big funds right now. 2 of them supported by the government of Uzbekistan, and 2 of them totally private. And we have good success stories, and we have also tried to build good regulations for all players, but we need support from other fintech associations and other colleagues from other countries, because we're doing only the first steps. We have any good background on this way, and that's why for us important to build and to expand our networking with our colleagues from other countries.
So let us talk about some global market strategies and business opportunities in each fintech industry cooperation points. What do you say or suggest to fintech companies that wants to go to your market? From your expert view, what are some key success factors to enter your fintech industry and market?
So in Japan, I think having enough capability or resources and matured business model is important because the Japanese market has a little bit strict regulation, and also sales cycles in Japan is a bit longer than other countries. So that means the companies who are entering Japan required to have that kind of resources and capabilities.
So two things I would suggest that you want to for fintech coming from Korea to Singapore. One, do your homework, read things online because Singapore is very transparent, so everything can be found online. Two, work with these bodies that have been appointed by the Korean government to help you, because there is a lot of resources that the Korean government is putting in to support, including the likes of Fintech Center.
Right.
You know, so work with them, and they have partners like us that will then be supporting you in Singapore.
Yeah, I think for the Korean companies, if you're looking for Taiwan's market, the compliance is definitely the one of the key things that you need to be solved, or actually acknowledge the whole picture about the solutions need to be aware of. So that is why fintech space is very focused on the compliance mentoring.
I have three things for you. 3 markets that you can make money off on that's very aligned to Korea. Number 1, gigsters. Second, gamers, esports. Korea has a lot of it. We need cash in, cash out. Please open in the Philippines. And third, migrant workers. Not just Filipino migrant workers, but including Indian and Bangladeshi migrant workers are setting up in the Philippines. No? So please, open shop.
My recommendation to find some good partner from Uzbek side, because our legislations, our ecosystem still developing. And of course, you need some Uzbek good partner in the market for the enter. From the expert view, of course, the second way we will be happy to see the new innovation product services, technologies, and disruptive some ideas to implement in the Uzbek market. And we need also who can provide for us more educational programs, some expertise about the sandbox, especially in the regulatory sandbox. This is key.
Okay, next question is how and some of the key technology services that are needed in each country and business opportunities. Maybe we are not so sure some key technology services that are needed in Japan or Singapore or Taiwan or Philippine market.
So compared to other countries, Japan has a huge non-financial industry. So one technology we need is embedded finance. Yeah, we can integrate our non-financial industries and provide financial solutions to them, these companies. Yeah.
Right.
So in short, I think one thing that I can call out is perhaps maybe along the lines of new loyalty marketing, along the lines of new identifier, a way to embed or a way to put information. And also I think another thing to call out is data analytics, data engineering.
Okay.
I think that is one big thing, because as AI starts to pick
AI,
up, then you need to be able to find ways to clean up the data.
First thing is the ESG, the green fintech. But the key question that we try to solve is that how we can invite or ask the consumers to do the more greener actions in the very beginning. Like we try to do this in financial industry, but I think the consumer's behavior is probably the most critical things in this whole actions. And the second part is the fraud detection. As we have just mentioned, there's a lot of opportunity for the fraud. Actually in Taiwan, for the first 6 months, we have more than 400 cases about the financial fraud. So that makes the whole financial institutions are very carefully to do these kind of things and the detections. So we try to make it stop in the very beginning, not later. We try to make it over. So I think this is 2 key things that in Taiwan that we are looking for.
Number 1, we have a huge untapped insurtech market. I know we have an insurtech panel, so we need more of that. Prop tech and real estate is very much needed. And finally, but I look to Ruben for this sustainability and green finance, right? People don't recognize it yet that they need it, but we do need it, and it's just a matter of time.
In my view, first of all, we need to speed up some processes in API protocols.
Okay, API
It's
protocol.
very important for us,
Okay.
especially we need to upgrade some connections between the payment system and the traditional banks, and the
Okay.
API protocols very important for us. We
Right.
need to upgrade it. And
Okay.
another, it's cloud solutions.
Okay,
Cloud solutions also very important for traditional banks. And another problem which we need to implement and to cover our country, especially our financial services, this is cybersecurity services. This is one of the main stone in the fintech market.
So we have talked about some opportunity in business key technology in your country. Then how can a company minimize risk or has risk involved entering some markets?
In terms of risk for fintech, when it comes to expansion, my honest opinion, do your homework. Because a lot of times when a lot of fintech wants to expand overseas, they tend to undermine how much resources they need to expand. Expansion takes time, especially if you be market, you need to hustle, you need to hanker, you need to put your foot down. So that takes a lot of resources. Second thing is your structuring. A lot of times you do need to take note of your structuring. How do you set up? Because if you are in your home company, it's easy. But once you go offshore, once you go beyond your own shores, you need to set up your own structure properly. Your whole withholding tax, your whole shareholders fund, is it a dividend or is it a royalty? How do you move your money back? Look into your currency controls. I couldn't emphasize this more because the moment you get the first, it's like your blouse or your shirt. The moment your first button is wrong, you cannot get the rest correct. So your first button is very important. Do spend some time to do some of this homework.
I think it's also important to note that just because you are a market leader in your market, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will be very easy for you to penetrate a similar market. So just because you're the biggest doesn't mean that it'll be easy for you. So partner with the local.
Thank you. And I hope that it helps understand to enter your market and understand your fintech trends and development. Okay, so in closing, I would like to thank all the special speakers invited for this invitation, Asia Fintech Roundtable. Thank you.